Just a quick video here. I've talked a lot about the Batman and the Superman coding to the Super Bowl, and I said I was going to look a little bit more into Superman. I didn't really go back and watch any movies or anything, but when the Panthers played the Cardinals, Cam Newton jumped up in the air on one of his touchdowns, and the announcer said that he looked like Superman or whatever. And they even have here Cam Newton stiff arms and flies into end zone like Superman. So interesting if it's Batman versus Superman, and like Peyton Manning would be Batman, and Cam Newton could be like Superman, I'm assuming, if they're calling him Superman. I mean, doesn't have to mean much, but very interesting they would call him Superman. But it made me think of Christopher Reeve, right? He is the Superman, the original Superman, and everybody knows that he was in a wheelchair forever. But what's interesting, the reason that he was in a wheelchair was because of a horse accident, right? So the Panthers are playing the White Bronco, or the Broncos, which is a untamed horse, right? A horse that bucks or whatever. So interesting, Christopher Reeve, the Superman. So interesting too, I talked about a long time ago about the word Newton, which it's not that great of a connection, but Cam Newton, Newton equals 91, a number I've seen with death, elimination, all types of stuff, bad things with the number 91 this year. There was a few good things with 91, but it was nothing that added up to 91. It was like when the Miami Hurricanes came back and won that one game after their huge blowout, and then magically they win the next game. I can't think of who they played, but it was on a 91-yard run. Stuff like that where it was good, but anything that added up to 91, I've noticed, has been not positive this year. Anyway, Cam Newton was born in 1989, the same year that the founder of the Black Panthers, Huey P. Newton, was murdered. So Huey P. Newton dies in 1989, Cam Newton born in 1989. And here's some 91 stuff that I talked about. Just a few examples here, I guess. CC Sabathia, he was an alcoholic and couldn't play all of a sudden. His name equals 91. Chicago Cubs equals 91. Chicago Bears equals 91. Also, 4/1 April 1st is normally the 91st day of the year, which interesting, Skull and Bones equals 41 and 149. Super Bowl equals 41. But every president who's been assassinated, it's been connected to the Skull and Bones. Abraham Lincoln died on April 15th. April 15th equals 149 like Skull and Bones. William McKinley died on September 14th, which just so happens to add up to 91, but it's also written as 14-9, just like 149. Garfield died on 9/19, September 19th, adds up to 91. He was even born on November 19th, that adds up to 91. Interesting too, 9/19, the mirrors, 91 and 19. JFK was born on the 149th day of the year. He was even the 35th president. The 35th prime number is 149. Interesting, Obama was born on 8/4, a day with 149 remaining until the end of the year. He also had the Roseburg, Oregon shooting that happened on Jimmy Carter's 91st birthday, the day with 91 days left until the end of the year. Talked a lot about the Nebraska Cornhuskers this year, coded into Teen Wolf and Lupercalia, and Space Jam and Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox and whatnot. But Dean Jones, the actor in the movie Herbie the Love Bug, he died on 9/1 this year. Of course, Herbie Husker, he's in the movie Herbie. There was tons more stuff with that, but also Nebraska's player Pearson L. DeMornay, he got injured just celebrating a play. His name adds up to 91. Cam Wake of the Miami Dolphins equals his number is 91. He tore his Achilles this year. Don Vito even died. His real name adds up to 91. Vikings, I said, weren't going to win this year because they add up to 91. I mean, you get the idea. Mirror equals 91. And, which is interesting because I talked about the Panthers being mirrored to the 85 Bears. So, who knows what that all means. Doesn't look so hot for the Panthers, but there's also a lot of other things that make it look like the Broncos are going to lose. So, I'm still at a, I don't know. I'm still deciding here, but on what I want to pick for the Super Bowl. But Christopher Reeve equals 95. he got hurt on the horse in Culpeper, Virginia, that equals 95, and it was also on May 27th in the year 95. Quadriplegic is what he became. That adds up to 122 and 68. San Francisco equals 122. The day that he got hurt, May 27th, even adds up to 68. He's even born in the year 52 and died at the age of 52. Now, what's interesting about the year 1995, I have covered a lot of Space Jam stuff dealing with love and Valentine's Day theme and whatever, Teen Wolf. But 95 is also the same year that Michael Jordan came out of retirement for the first time. And Michael Jordan owns the Charlotte Hornets. He's also 52 years old. We had the birth of Princess Charlotte this year on 5/2. 5/2 is the 122nd day of the year. 1995 is also the same year of the Carolina Panthers' first season played in the NFL. They became a team before that, but they didn't start playing in the NFL until 1995. Their first game was on September 3rd of 1995. So I went from Jordan's first game back on 3/19/95 to the Panthers' first game as a span of 168 days. Super interesting number. Talked a lot with Queen Elizabeth and the Kanye West stuff in regards to gay marriage. You know, the Taylor Swift equals 168. Beyonce Knowles equals 168. Taylor Swift has Bad Blood. Kanye was at Glastonbury, was singing the Queen song, right? The Queen is the gay band. Freddie Mercury died of AIDS. He had Bad Blood. It's absolutely ridiculous. But Beyonce Knowles even is performing at Super Bowl 50 again, and with Coldplay this year. And she was in Super Bowl 47, the Blackout Super Bowl, and whatnot. Also, when Jordan announced his comeback, his famous words were, "I'm back," that equal 39. You know, Peyton Manning is 39 years old. Charlotte in Gematria equals 39. I'm not sure why I wrote that in there. 1977 is 39 years ago. Maybe I'll find out here in a little bit. 77, interesting number though, because in the word nigger in Gematria, it's 5 plus 9 plus 7 plus 7 plus 5 plus 9. So maybe that has something to do with it. Anyway, I went from the Christopher Reeve injury to the Panthers' first game, and it's a span of 3 months and 7 days. Carolina equals 37. The Panthers' first game had a date numerology of 107, just like Superman, just like Earthquake. He was also Superman, or Christopher Reeve, was injured in Culpeper, Virginia, which is located on 38 degrees north, 77 west. So that's probably why I put that in there, I guess. Didn't even look at that, but Panthers equals 38, just like Colorado. Colorado, the 38th state. Super Bowl 50 is played on the 38th day of the year. Man of Steel equals 38. Like I said, I don't know that much about Superman and superhero stuff, but I'm pretty sure that Superman is referred to as the Man of Steel or whatever. Also, I just found it interesting. The motto of the town is preserving the past, embracing the future. I mean, it doesn't have to mean much, just thinking about Back to the Future and the past and the future and all that. Christopher Reeve, his full name, Christopher D. Ollier Reeve, equals 131, just like Super Bowl. Also, for whatever the reason, Culpeper, Virginia reminds me of Dante Culpepper, who was also a former black quarterback, so ties into Cam Newton as well. And he had a good season in 2004, but then he got hurt in 2005, and he was never as successful as he had been previously. And what's interesting is that he got hurt on October 30th, 2005 against the Panthers. And the team that he played for at the time was the Minnesota Vikings, and they lost that game 38-13. I mean, oh, the odds, you know. Panthers equals 38, death equals 38. So, I don't know, you know. It makes me wonder if Cam Newton if they're coding him to Superman. I talked about it before. I had a theory about Cam Newton maybe getting hurt, and then the Panthers would lose or whatever. But I don't know. I'm honestly still sort of leaning towards the Panthers in this. I know that the Broncos are super loaded, and we even have stuff like this, but there's other things that make me think that the Panthers are going to win, but I'm really not for sure yet. I think it's the reason I mention that, is because the word mirror also equals 91, and we've seen a lot of just mirror things. So if the Bears won in the 1985 Bears won, and you know the Panthers had the same record as the Bears. They've been talking about the Panthers being just like the Bears. They even had their coach is even a former 85 Bear. It just seems like they're mirroring them. So the 91 could maybe work out in their favor as well. Even though it seems like such a bad thing, maybe they're mirroring it. Maybe Superman actually beats the horse this time. Also, stuff like I took this picture. There was a video on ESPN earlier about Peyton Manning saying that in the next 8 to 10 years that Cam Newton might be the best ever or something. I can't remember the exact wording, but the video was 21 seconds long. It's the Panthers' 21st season even, and in previous videos I've talked about how the number 21 seems to be a winning number this year, and 12 seems to be the bad number. And so 21 seconds. They also show Cam Newton's record here. As a starting quarterback, he's 30, 31, and 1. And everything has seemed to be tied into the number 31 in the past month that we've noticed. Even like Alex Smith won his 31st game against as a Chief against Houston, and then they sucked against the Patriots or whatever. So literally, I think they're going to let Cam Newton get his 31st win and be 31 and 31 and 1. I mean, just stuff like that. There's just so much weird coding. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is the good coding, and there's so much of it. I feel like they just choose certain aspects of it, and that's how they choose the winner. So, trying to figure out what was more of a winning thing, and then apply it to the storyline as well. And that's why I haven't really made a choice yet. But I actually am leaning towards the Panthers in this, as far as right now. So, whatever. I'm going to leave it at that. Have a great night.